Hiya! Chico says hi too. The purpose of my video today is to put myself out there so that people can get to know me a little bit and to tell you about my weight loss journey and the struggles that I've had on the way. And I'm gonna start back when I was 7 years old because that's when my weight problems started. I spent a lot of time at a coffee shop with my parents, and there was a gas station across the street, and people would come and go all day to this little coffee shop, and everybody would send me to the store to get them cigarettes. And every time I would go, somebody would give me a quarter, which I would use to buy a Hostess cake called a crocodile. Chocodile. Anyways, so I got a little bit chunky doing that. My mom tried to put me on a diet. She had no idea. She was severely obese herself. Like, she was clueless. She didn't know how to help me. But like, I remember having to eat wheat puffs with fiber powder on them for breakfast in the morning, which was hideous. I couldn't even make myself do it. But anyways, after that, I'd say that when I got into my early teens, I was so convinced I was fat from having a childhood of everybody telling me I was fat that I pretty much stopped eating, and I would say even struggled with anorexia. Even though I didn't look all that skinny, because I'm kind of the way I'm built, I'd have to be insanely skinny to actually look skinny because I'm built stocky. So in my early teens, I wasn't very heavy. I wasn't heavy at all. But then when I was 15 and I got pregnant with my daughter, Veronica, whom I love immensely, my favorite person. In the beginning, I had so much morning sickness that I was losing enough weight that my doctor finally said, look, just eat. You need to get weight on. Eat whatever. So when the morning sickness finally stopped, I was literally eating everything I could get my grubby little hands on, especially turkey sandwiches with mayo and black olives. That was my favorite. Anyways, so I gained a lot of weight while I was pregnant with her. After she was born, I probably got all of it, but the last 10 pounds off, I would say. Then when I had my son a couple of years later, well, a few years later, it was the same. I lost all but like the last 10 pounds of the weight I gained while I was pregnant with him. So I packed on a little more. Then after my second son, my third child, again, I would say I packed on another 10 pounds. And then my last one, it was like another 10 pounds. So I was always like chilling around 175, which is a lot for somebody who's only 5'1.5" like me. I was pretty chunky, but I don't think I even realized it. Then in 2009, I had to start having a series of 6 major spine surgeries. During that time, I had to spend such an incredible amount of time sitting in one spot, healing, having excruciating pain, just a horrible time on so many different medications and narcotics. It was an awful period of time for me, and I got all the way up to 260 pounds. I was on medication for my heart, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis. I was sick the whole time. I had horrible joint pain and swelling. I had to go through narcotic withdrawals so many times, over and over. My spine was broken in 3 places at one point. I was crippled at one point. My spine was twisted and over-straightened. And I literally couldn't even walk around the block. I spent a lot of time in really poor physical condition, and I got really big. And I was desperate to feel better. I was so sad, like disappointed with myself. Like, how did this all happen? It was like, I know it sounds dumb, but it was like one day I just woke up and realized I was there and was like, what do I do now? So I felt like I had to take the weight off. I did the easiest thing. I had weight loss surgery. I actually say it was the easiest thing because back then I thought it was going to be the easiest thing. But it really wasn't. It was completely unnecessary. And it was completely unnecessary. I could have had this already, all this weight loss, without it. So I don't even like to let it have any merit in my life, because with it I only lost about 50 pounds. And then I just stopped. The way that I actually lost all my weight, because I had a period after my surgery where I hadn't changed anything. I'd had this surgery, but I was still eating the same. I was still living the same. So I lost 50 pounds, and then I hit a wall, and I couldn't lose anymore. And I stayed that way for a good little while. And then I just realized, you went through all that because you have a bigger goal. Why are you going to just stop here and be complacent and accept this, which really wasn't even that much of an improvement? I mean, it was like 50 pounds, but I still didn't feel good about myself. I was still sick. I was still on medication. So I started walking miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. Like some days I would walk 8 miles. It hurt. It was painful. It was excruciating. It was so difficult. I did it even during the summer. Oh my God, some days it was so hot and I was so desperate to give up and just call my husband and say, please come get me. And a couple times I did. And I changed my diet. And mainly the thing that I did in changing my diet was I made more room for vegetables. Literally, I just invited the vegetables in, even though I was not a fan of them. And I started eating them. And I told myself, you're going to learn to love these if it kills you. It worked, because now I love vegetables. And then slowly I started cutting out sugar more-ish. I'm a sugar junkie, so I don't know if I can ever totally cut sugar out of my life. Possibly, since I've realized recently how absolutely lousy it makes me feel. But that's how I lost the rest of my weight, was walking and drinking tons more water and eating vegetables. Then there was a point at the beginning, actually, when my son first left for the Navy, something clicked in my brain as well, and I started telling myself every time I see him, I want to be different. Because when he left, it left such a hole in me. Anyways, I didn't want to cry. But it was great when he went away. He went to school and he was such a good student and he did so amazing. But then he started deploying on submarines. And that was so hard for me. The anxiety was so intense during the periods that he would be gone, deep in the ocean. And I had no contact with him at all. I never knew if he was okay. I never knew what was happening. And I had so much anxiety that built up every day that I told myself, you have to put this into something healthy or you're gonna die. So I started working out. I added light weights. And I worked out like a fiend every day. And then even more weight was coming off and my body was changing and it was like I got bit by this bug. I made it really far on my own, but I still had so many emotional issues and so much trauma to heal from that I hit this wall emotionally and mentally and realized that no matter how much my body changes, I have to get my head right so that I can be happy. And I had been watching my coach on Instagram and Facebook for a while, and I'd fallen in love with her because she was so bubbly and happy and spirited and positive, and she was uplifting, and she was a health and fitness coach, and she actually reached out to me and said, I think you'd be great at what I'm doing. You should come do this with me. I've watched your journey, it's been incredible. I want you to do this with me. And at first I was like, no, not gonna happen, sorry, can't do it. I don't have any faith in myself whatsoever. So I just kept struggling with my mental and emotional health. At one point, I was actually suicidal. I mean, I've been suicidal in the past too long ago. But it was that bad at that point in time. So I don't know what the hell happened. It was like a switch got flipped in me, and I just walked to the edge of the cliff and said, I'm gonna jump. And I joined her. And since I joined her and became a coach myself, it's been incredible. Number one, because I've met so many wonderful, amazing, happy, like positive, mentally well people, like who go out of their way to take care of their mental health every day. I mean, it's crazy. It was like a whole world of people and personalities that I didn't think really existed in the world. Like people who really love and support you unconditionally and want you to feel better. It's crazy. I all of a sudden had people telling me, do this for self-help and for personal development. It'll help you feel better. You know, asking me questions that made me come up with answers that made me feel inspired, and you know, having somebody there saying, you can do this, you can do anything, you're amazing, look where you've come from. And since I started coaching, and I've been doing these health and wellness challenges, boot camps, I've lost every bit of the weight that I wanted to lose when I started out at the beginning of my journey. Like, I've lost every pound. And my body has changed shape so much. Like, it's crazy. My waist just keeps getting smaller, and my thighs are getting bigger and more defined. And I want big thighs. I want big thighs. I want a big butt too, I ain't gonna lie. But my body has changed so much with the workouts that I do. My spirit has changed so much. And the thing I love most about coaching myself is that I'm finding so many people like that old me that just are desperate and need a hand and don't know where to go and feel like they're alone. And I love that I'm getting to reach out to these people. I love that, like, my job, literally, I don't want to get into that right now, but I love my job. Let me just say that. That's why I am making this video, even though I hate talking to a camera. I knew I was going to cry, because I'm a crybaby, and I miss my son. My weight loss journey has been incredible. And I was right about, you know, when I had weight loss surgery, I just gotta say real quick, for anybody who's thinking about it, I knew when I had weight loss surgery that it is not permanent, because every single other person that I had ever known who had had it had put on all or some of the weight that they lost with the surgery. So luckily I say I was lucky in that way, because I did it knowing this isn't it. You still gotta get right. Like, you gotta get all the way right, because this is not gonna fix you. So if you're thinking about it, it is not gonna fix you. My stomach is the size of anybody else's. Ask my husband, he will tell you I can throw down some food. A lot at one time, or constantly all day if I want to. I stay little because I keep moving. I keep moving forward. I keep trying and striving every day to feed my body better, to learn more about nutrition and overall health. And every day I work more and more on my mental and emotional health, because this life that I'm living now is all about feeling good. And it's all I wanted my whole life ever. It's all I've ever wanted, is to feel good and happy. And I feel happier than I've ever felt with myself in the progress that I've made. It has helped my marriage immensely. It's made me a better mother. Thank God I can say that, because all I ever wanted was to be a good wife and mom. Anyways, there is a little bit of my story. Today is part one of a coaching sneak peek that I'm doing. which is the purpose of this video. In my next video, I'll be talking about what I do as a coach and sharing that with you. For now, sorry I cried. Can't help it. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you're part of my life in the future.